Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy and ascension forecast for Sunday, March 19th to Saturday, March 25th. So last week we were wrapping up a lot of cycles. First, we're starting with the Pisces season. We are wrapping that up. We had our last full week of Pisces season. As I come to you live Friday evening, we only have a couple of days left of Pisces season, of this old year, of this old calendar. Thank freaking goodness. Of course, we had a major healing, releasing, purging event on the 12th with Jupiter conjunct Chiron. Huge amount of growth, huge amount of releasing, a huge amount of healing that we didn't even know that we were doing unconsciously and consciously. You should have felt a little bit lighter, a little bit brighter. You should have seen full circle completions with some of the tougher life lessons that you had been struggling to accept. And of course, with the last quarter moon in Sag illuminating a brand new truth, a brand new path, meaning, purpose, we're definitely seeing things from a different set of eyes, especially when looking back. Of course, we just had Venus take her place of power in this Taurus energy, providing us with a little bit of a grounding point, and Lord knows we're going to need it as we close out Pisces season and we jump into Aries season, the brand new astrological calendar. So we also, and this is like a special mention here, we've been wrapping up Mercury being in Pisces energy. Thank goodness. We will see a shift come out of Mercury moving into Aries energy on the 19th. We'll talk about that in a second. But the notable mentions for this past week were, of course, Mars squaring Neptune, their third interaction over these last couple of months. Of course, it started way back in 2022. We had the second aspect pop off in October 2022. Now, this is the third aspect. This is why physical energy was low, inspiration was low, motivation was low, why accidents were high, why anger was high, why confusion was high. Of course, we had that amplified with the annual meetup between the Sun and Neptune. It should have kind of restored or renewed our faith a little bit and provided us with a little bit of clarity on, peeling back the layers of the spiritual life lessons that we're in. But there's so much confusion going on over this past week. It was hard to kind of see anything clearly. Of course, we had Mercury and the Sun come together in their conjunction in this Pisces energy. And yep, that was a great thing. A lot of pressure in the head. We might have received a little bit of a window of clarity, received aha moments of insight, of inspiration, of creative ideas flowing in. However, the confusion is still very high. And the Sun and Mercury coming together were, of course, squaring off with Mars. This is where the agitation comes from, where the frustration comes from. And reminder, we were supposed to hit a breakdown point. We were supposed to fall apart as we prepare for clarity, a breakthrough, and a fresh beginning. So what do we got going on this week? Well, this is going to be a week. Put your metaphysical helmets on, right? We have to really protect our crown this week. Why do I say that? Well, first of all, Mercury is moving out of Pisces energy, closing the door on that particular confusing cycle. Mercury will be moving into Aries energy on the 19th. You want to talk about a glow up in that headspace. You want to talk about pressure. You want to talk about insights. You want to talk about being able to articulate all that we were stumped on over these last couple of weeks with Mercury being in Pisces. This is going to be a major shift in our perspective and our understanding and the way that we're able to make sense of things and able to actually get it out of our mind space. Our mouths are going to be hot to trot. We're going to have to really kind of be very careful with the verbal vomit that comes with Mercury being in Aries. Not because we, don't have things to say. We do have to get them out. But it's almost like we go from one extreme and not being able to formulate a sentence to the other extreme where we're talking too much, where we're saying too much, where every thought is coming out of our mouths and most likely without a filter. So we're going to have to pay attention about that. And of course, the greatest event that we have going on this week is the 20th, when the sun moves into Aries energy, initiating the new year, initiating the spring equinox, kicking off Aries season. You best believe that that is going to be a jolt of a day. It's going to bring a lot of fire energy, a lot of ants in our pants, a lot of restlessness, and it's an interesting dynamic because we're in the dark phase of the moon when the sun actually steps into its, I'm not going to say its most powerful placement because the sun in Leo is its most powerful placement, but the sun in any fire sign is a good thing. And so, the sun is coming back to life. This is the renewal, the revival, resurrection. Doesn't really work there. It should work, but it doesn't. Anyways, this is the rebirth that we've been waiting for. And so we are going to shift gears. We are going to feel a dramatic shift in the energy. And it is going to be very interesting on how that plays out, seeing as we are in the dark phase of the moon. Why are we in the dark phase of the moon, you may ask? Well, that's because we have the new moon in Aries on the 21st. Newsflash, it's at a 0 degree. Newsflash, this is the first of two. Newsflash, the second one is the solar eclipse. So this technically is the only one that we have control over. It'll be very important to really align with the energies, get your mind right. We have the opportunity at a 0 degree. This is a fresh, clean karmic slate. We have the ability to set the tone for the next 2 years. You're going to want to take advantage of that. And of course, this is just a boom, boom, pow of a week because on the 23rd, we have Pluto moving into Aquarius energy. Yes, this is a generational shift. Yes, this is going to be more apparent on the greater, grander collective stage than in our own independent and individual lives. However, there is going to be an impact there. And, we are about to get a taste on what the age of Aquarius is going to be for us at the end of this 20-year cycle. Yes, I said it, 20 years. And it is a very interesting time. We will likely see a lot of damage, destruction, take place at the beginning. Keep in mind that we're only going to be in this Aquarian energy for a couple of months before Pluto goes retrograde, slips back into Capricorn energy. Then we will go direct again, move through that Capricorn energy at those critical crisis degrees that we've been sitting at technically since the beginning of the year. And then we will shift back into that Aquarian energy. We set up camp permanently November of 2024. So there's a lot of dance moves, a lot of cha-cha-chas going on with Pluto in that Aquarian and Capricorn energy, but of course gives us a huge opportunity where we can be progressive, push ourselves outside of the comfort zone, initiate something new, be a little bit more rebellious, begin the revolution, and then we slip back into the Capricorn energy and really take a good look at what it is that we didn't clean up so nicely the first time around. So we will have a lot of back and forth to do with Pluto's particular transit until we set up shop permanently in that Aquarian energy late 2024. And then on the 25th, we have Mars finally moving out of Gemini energy. Can I get a hallelujah? Yes, that is a very, very good celebratory word, and I use it frequently. Is it a word, you may ask? It is in my world. You're more than welcome to use it in your world as well. What I would say is that we don't usually talk about Mars moving into Cancer energy. It's not its most favorable place to be in. But after 7 months of being in Gemini energy, we will take anything over that. We just want change. We want to get out of the intellectual battlefield. We just want to be able to take action and to make moves. Granted, we're not going to be able to do much move making. Mars does rule over Aries season, so he will be in his place of power that way. However, being in Cancer energy, not his best place, not his best self. We will not be taking direct, straightforward actions and moves. Instead, we kind of got to do a cha-cha-cha in that energy as well. We are a little bit more passive-aggressive, defensive and protective, I should say. And we only go after things that we are intuitively and instinctually inspired to make moves on. But it's not a direct move. It's kind of like, we gradually take a step towards it, and then we step back and we observe, and we take another move forward, and then we step back and observe. So, it's not going to be as clearly defined from point A to point B like we were kind of hoping for. But nonetheless, we're out of Gemini energy, and that is the main thing to celebrate. So hold that very strong in your mind space as we move through that particular transit, because like I said, Mars is not in his greatest place here in Cancer energy. But, and again, moving out of the mental plane into the heart space is a welcome change for us to really get in alignment with what feels right, what we feel inspired to take action on. And Lord knows we need these energies to change. So this is a jam-packed week, okay? I'm not even exaggerating just a tad. Let me just tell you, mark Sunday on your calendar. You would think that the 20th, with the sun kind of moving into Aries season and initiating the new year and moving into the new moon window and initiating the spring equinox and ushering in new karmic life lessons and chapters, you would think that that would be the busiest day this week. But it's not. Sunday actually is with 15, okay? 15 different aspects. That's no joke. Let me tell you, 11 of them, are involving the moon. However, the other ones are involving Mercury, and Mercury will be moving into Aries energy very early Sunday morning, which means that he is raring to go. Mercury being in this Aries energy, we are just, our heads will likely feel like they're going to explode. Not confusion, not depression like we have been sitting in with Pisces energy. We're going to fire things up. We're going to get passionate. We're going to get excited. We're not going to be able to do all the things that we want to do. We want to get the party started in so many different ways. We're going to be hot to trot. There's going to be a major focus. It's going to be hard to focus, but there's going to be major focuses because we're going to be so scatterbrained. We're going to be so just elated that we're able to actually complete a thought and form a sentence that, there's no stopping us now. So we do have quite the cosmic day coming at us there on Sunday. And Sunday is the day with the most aspects. What I will say, the patterns that I noticed this week is there's a lot of eights, and late eights are about transformation. Eights are about death and rebirth, about transformation through a revival, a renewal, a rebirthing, a resurrection, if you will. And no doubt we're going through that. This week, we have so many freaking chapters ending, so many freaking chapters beginning. It's going to be quite a rush. So put your energetic helmets on and your, shin pads, knee pads, moving into Aries energy. Silly little accidents, tripping over our feet are going to be a thing. So you might actually want to, put real helmets and shin pads and knee pads on. Wrist pads, because we're going to have a hard time stabilizing on our feet. Why? Because we've just been in the middle of the ocean treading water for God knows how long in this Pisces energy. We swam our exhausted, confusing, depressive asses to the shore. We are now on stable ground. We want to hit the ground running, but we're literally tripping over our feet because we lack clarity in the direction. So we're just moving for the sake of moving because we can. And this is a couple of things that we're going to talk about here with the Ascension symptoms here this week. But first, let's wrap up a couple of things on my to-do list. First, I just want to thank you. I want to thank you for being here, spending your time, your energy with us, especially if you're here in the chat. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. Friday evenings, we all come together in this beautiful little community that we've created and really provide each other a lot of validation and confirmation and encouragement and support. So that we're not feeling so alone. We're not feeling so cray-cray. And you know what? We're at the last days of this very, very wild time that we've been in with Pisces season, Pisces energy. I had to laugh. I digress a little bit. I'm all over the place today if you haven't noticed, so bear with me. I had to laugh. There was something that popped up on my For You page on TikTok, and it was this girl, and she was making fun of astrology in a way, but not in a bad way. It was just kind of have you been victimized by all these fake ass astrologers talking about how lovely Pisces season was actually going to be? And it's have you been in a deep depression, a deep funk, and just want to end it all in Pisces season? Are you wondering why you've been misled by these fake ass astrologers? It was kind of to that extent. And I had to laugh because it's so funny. And I think if you go back and listen to, all the rants and raves that I go on about Pisces season, I think I said that. I know you're going to see a lot of, new age people out there talking about how beautiful Pisces season is going to be and how inspiring it's going to be and how creative it's going to be and light and fluffy and dreamy and fantastical it's going to be. And I have never subscribed to that narrative. Pisces season is hard. It's about endings and closures and depression. Why? Because we have to sit in the darkness before we can enter into the light. And, yeah, there is healing, but as we've been talking about, healing hurts. It's very painful. And I don't know who the hell has had the brain capacity to actually tap into creative ideas and make sense of them, because nobody's brain's been working. So I don't know who actually benefited from Pisces season in the light and fluffy way that, some of those faker people kind of describe Pisces season as. But guess what? It ain't me. I didn't have a light and fluffy Pisces season, and I know from the comments from the community here, not too many people were feeling that light and fluffy, imaginative, creative energy, because we had to be put through the ringer, and that's what Pisces season is all about. So again, just another little reminder, don't buy into all of this new age spiritual, everybody's an astrologer type of bull, especially if they're talking love and light and fluffy topics and themes, because that's not what we're here for. That's not what it is, and you're going to be majorly disappointed if you fall for that crap. So I just wanted to thank you for being here, for keeping it real. I try to keep it real 100% every week, every day that I bring you these forecasts. I am definitely not a fear monger. I'm not a negative Nancy. However, I'm not about to sugarcoat a lot of, very uncomfortable, painful processes that we have to go through in order to get our mind, body, and soul right. So thank you for keeping it real with yourself. Thank you for keeping it real with others in this community. And I'm a true believer that, you got to lean into whatever it is that's coming up for you in order to process it, integrate it, make it a part of who it is that you are, of course, so that we can operate from a sense of wholeness and completion. So I just want to thank you so much for being here. As you know, my YouTube channel has taken quite a hit. And usually I wake up and I have 50 plus comments that I have to address and reply to, which I love doing every morning when I drink my coffee, to connect with all y'all and respond and give you the same energy that y'all take in order to send me little messages. And lately I wake up and there might be maybe 5 comments, and that's a little bit of a Debbie Downer to me. I know many of you have expressed that you're still present and you're just behind the curtain. And I really hope behind the curtain is working out well for you guys. But just know that it is a very pivotal time in the collective's evolution here. And if my numbers are any indicator that the messages, the information isn't getting out to the people that need to know about it, that's very concerning for me. So I want to thank you for liking, for sharing, for commenting, for just being here and sharing this content with people that you think need to hear it, because as you know, I do have a target on my back here on this platform. I've actually seen it in other platforms as well. My Instagram, which I don't spend too much time on, I do, post the daily vibes every day and, links to major astrology events. But I usually get, 1,500 to 2,000 views on my posts. And lately it's 400 people. So that's a little bit concerning, a little bit depressing. I don't care about the likes. I care about the information getting in front of people's eyes that need to know it, need to hear it, need to read it. Because we are going through a very bumpy time. And, I've been talking about this for a very long time, especially in 2023 energy forecast that I put out at the beginning of the year. March is an absolute shit show for good reason. Life will never be the same after March, both good, bad, and otherwise. And especially with Pluto moving into that Aquarius energy, you best believe we're about to see the main focus on what it is that Pluto, death, destruction, resurrection, rebirth, true transformation, what he's about to unearth for us, because we're about to spend the next 20 years trying to make it better. So that'll be very interesting to see. Not that I'm a betting girl, and you don't even need to be into astrology or be a psychic or anything to kind of see where the world is going. We're already seeing indicators of the financial collapse, although it is very man-made and constructed in order to push us into these not so nice financial systems that we need to resist at all costs. However, you're going to see major financial disruptions take place once Pluto moves into this Aquarian energy. Aquarian energy affects technology. So, we haven't been using technology to its highest potential. We've actually been using it to make this place a much darker and corrupted type of place. And we have to expose that dark corruption before we can make it better. And we got 20 years to do that. So, Pluto is definitely going to lead the charge, and we just have to stay up and aware and enlightened on these particular topics and themes so that we can focus on the outcome that we actually want to manifest, because it literally comes down to the mental power of the collective on the storyline, on the timeline that we are all choosing to stay on. Speaking of timelines, don't know if you noticed, but we're in an accelerated manifestation state, and I got good intel from the other side that we fast forwarded a particular timeline up by 3 years. So some of the events that I knew we were planning on experiencing in like 2025, 2026, it's been brought to my attention that that particular timeline has been fast forwarded, and that we might be moving into some of those topics and themes here in a couple of months. So as far as your own individual life goes, I want you to really pay attention to what it is that you are focusing on as you move into Aries season, especially with that new moon in Aries at a 0 degree, very karmic in nature. And this kind of leads me into what I want to do, which is take a small opportunity to plug the e-guide, the workbooks that I said were coming at you at the beginning of the year that didn't get to you until just now. I created it specifically for Aries season. All the other zodiac seasons will follow as such. But go ahead, make a small investment in yourself and download that e-guide, download that workbook. Get in alignment with the energies. This is a brand new calendar, a brand new year, okay? And there's no better time to get your shit together, get your head right, to really kind of, invest in yourself, re-energize, revive, resurrect yourself in a brand new light with the energies at play, then entering into this new astrological calendar. So you can find those guides on my website. Would definitely recommend that you jump into this little bit of a learning chapter, really get to build upon the relationship with yourself. Reminder, we're in 2023. It's a vibration of 7, where a relationship with self is the name of the game. We have to find a balance point, a grounding point within the relationship of ourselves, melding the dark with the light, melding our ego with our higher self, having that cup floweth over, and really bless all of the other relationships and opportunities to share ourselves with the rest of the world. But it all starts with us first. So make sure that your cup is filling up as we speak so that you can share your beautiful self with the world around you. Because we are moving into a new year, you're likely going to see some new changes from me. I've been talking about them a little bit more over the last couple of months. For the Moon Guide subscribers, you'll likely see some changes there, mostly because the new e-guide really does the most supportive work with the energies that we're moving into. The Moon Guide is still very important, but we're going to be focusing more on the lunar cycle as a whole and the stages of manifesting as a whole. Looking at the season, what it offers us, where our energy and attention needs to be focused on. So you'll likely see some changes in the formatting of that Moon Guide as well. And talking about learning, everybody's been at me for God knows how long about, doing astrology classes. And I started, it's over on my Patreon for my silver tier members. We're just scratching the very, very, I'm going to say top layer of the basics of astrology. So it's a perfect time to jump in. It's the most affordable way that you're going to get an astrology class. And there's no better way to learn about astrology than dealing with the hands-on astrology that we're currently in and working through. So I definitely encourage you to jump over to Patreon if learning about astrology and being able to kind of hack your birth chart is something that you're interested in. Jump on over. Let's do this particular ride together. And of course, starting at a brand new calendar season, there's no better time to boss up, to take an interest, to put your interests first, and to invest in yourself. So with that being said, I do want to remind you that things are a little bit crazy. They're going to continue to be crazy until we move into this new astrological calendar. A lot of people are having a hard time. If you are having a hard time, then congratulations, you're in alignment with the energies and where it is that you need to be. Please be listening to the daily energy forecast that I put out there. I try to give a little bit of a reminder each and every forecast of why we're feeling the way that we're feeling, why it is that we're dealing with what it is that we're dealing with. But even more than that, guys, I just feel the need to remind you to go back and listen to, March's energy forecast. Go back, listen to the 2023 energy forecast for this particular time period in the calendar. I have all of the content, all of the information out there for your listening pleasure. So if you ever find yourself in a situation where you're like, what the F is going on? Well, go back and listen to some of the videos on this particular time frame, and it'll make perfect sense to you why it is that you're experiencing what it is that you're experiencing, why you're feeling the way that you do. All of those videos are there for, the whole goal is to support you in your individual healing journey and your own individual process, and to remind you that you're not crazy and that you're not alone. So please invest in yourself. Take the time to really remind yourself that all is well in the world, even when it feels like it's not. You're exactly where it is that you need to be. Okay, with all of that out of the way, let's jump into some Ascension symptoms. So, as I come to you Friday evening, of course, we're still in the final days of this old calendar, of Pisces season, of Mercury being in Pisces energy. So we're at the ending point, the breaking point, the folding point. Confusion is still high, exhaustion is still high, depression is still high, the funkiness is still high, the want, need, and desire to just curl up in a ball and sit this entire lifetime out is still at a high. So if you're feeling any of those things, then congratulations, you're exactly where it is that you need to be. Now, let me just say, and I know it's hard when we're in a funk and we're not feeling so hot, that it's hard to have the attitude of gratitude for the pain and for the struggle that we're in. But let me just give you a little bit of a perspective here. When Mercury moves into Aries energy on the 19th, we are going to be under so much head pressure that we're almost going to wish that we were in the floaty confusion that we've been in with Mercury being in Pisces energy for these last couple of weeks. I'm not even joking. When Mercury moves into the fire energy, he initiates his brand new cycle. This is setting us up for a 13-month adventure on new insights, new information, new perspectives, new details, new thoughts being formed. And even more than that, in a fire energy, it's an initiating energy. It is a exciting energy. It brings a lot of passion, a lot of intensity. And yes, we will gain a lot of clarity. Yes, we will gain a lot of aha moments. But we're also going to be so ramped up in our headspace that burnout is likely going to happen. Anytime any planet is in Aries energy, we go balls to the walls and then burn ourselves out long before we ever get to the goal or to the destination. And it's no different with our mental plane, but let me tell you, mental fatigue is a thing. And even though we've been confused, we haven't been fatigued in our mental plane. We've been physically fatigued and exhausted. Our mental plane, the only reason why we're confused is because consciously speaking, we're not understanding the unconscious downloads that we've been getting in Pisces season. When Mercury moves into Aries, all the downloads come into fruition. It's overwhelming, like system overload. So I do want you to be cautious of, your focus, first of all, moving into Aries season, period, and building in this fire energy. We're accident prone. And why? Because we're in such a rush. Why? Because we've been stunted out. Why? Because it wasn't a time of action. Is this the time of action now? Yeah, for the most part. However, we still don't have a clear path, and therefore we're just going to be making moves and taking action just for the sake of moving and taking action without having a path clearly defined. Now, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Well, if you can balance it, it's going to be both good and bad. And that's what we need to do, is find the space in the middle where there's pros and cons. The pros of that is that there's movement, that there is clarity, that there's articulation, that we have a little bit more passion and excitement, motivation, if you will, inspiration, really pushing us to kind of, get the party started in all the right ways. However, the downside is lack of focus, scatterbrainedness, impulsiveness, nervousness, restlessness, and, we're on the verge of being able to make sense of all the things that have been downloaded for us over the last couple of weeks, and it's going to come in hot and heavy. It's going to be very intense, and there's going to be a lot of head pressure because of it. Also, Mercury rules over communication. I talked briefly about this, about how we're going to go from one extreme to the next, from not being able to articulate a thought and actually communicate or express ourselves if our life's dependent on it, to not being able to shut up, to not really being able to use a filter. There's going to be a lot of verbal vomit, right? We just want to get our thoughts out. We don't even care if they make sense. We just want to be able to speak freely and express ourselves and identify some of the things that have been going on in our inner realm that we haven't been able to get outside of us. And we're just going to express ourselves fully, and we're blunt and we're straightforward. And sometimes that is a great thing, and other times that can lead to a lot of confrontation, a lot of problems. We've been very avoidant of confrontation and problems in this Pisces energy. We almost look for confrontation and problems in Aries energy because we're that egoically inspired that we want to assert ourselves. We want that aggression. We want that, that warrior type of spirit to just be activated all the time. And that's going to have a major impact on our vocal cords. We're definitely going to get that throat chakra back into good repair. And, we're going to be feeling a lot of those symptoms in our headspace, in our jaw, the tension that we hold in our jaw, in our teeth. Aries energy rules over the head. Mercury rules over the mental plane, so we're going to have to expect that there's a lot of attention, focused energy there. And again, when I said, put your metaphysical, energetic helmets on, and sometimes in some cases your physical helmet on as well, it's because the crown is going to be super freaking active, okay? Which means that we are predisposed to headaches, to migraines, to just feeling like our head is going to explode. Again, having too many windows open in that computer brain of ours, not knowing where the music is coming from, all that type of thing. We don't have a high tolerance for patience. So we're, definitely always on the verge of losing our shit in both the good and the bad ways. So just be cautious of that. Now, this week, it's going to be a very interesting tug of war for our attention and for our energy. It's interesting to me that the sun enters into, I'm not saying again, the sun's greatest place of power is Leo season, but next to Leo season, Aries and Sagittarius season are favorable for the sun because they're fire energies. So it's interesting to me that we kick off Aries season, the spring equinox, the new astrological calendar, in the dark phase of the moon, where we're sitting in the darkness, where there is no illumination of light. We are having to really trust our intuition, our gut, to navigate through the darkness of the shadow realm of our experiences. And here we are, we're in a celebratory mood, we're starting fresh, we feel revived, we feel renewed in the dark phase of the moon. That is amazing to me. So that tug of war to find balance between the dark and light, between the old and new, between the old year and the new year beginning, it's going to be a very emotional time. Now, granted, this Aries energy, we are definitely more on the side of the warrior type attitude. So I would suspect that, optimism, confidence, really being hype instead of being emo. We're going to be leaning into that. We've had our time to be emo in Pisces season. I'm about done with it. You know what I mean? I'm about done with it. I think we all are. But it's just interesting because the dark phase of the moon always brings out our emotions, and our emotions have been out. We've been airing out our emotions for God knows how long now. And, the whole goal was to lighten the load of our emotional, mental, and karmic baggage before entering into the new astrological calendar. And hopefully we've all done that, but we're going to learn very quickly very quickly where it is that we have to boss up, where it is that we have to take the lead, where it is that we have to initiate something new, where it is that we have to create something new, where it is that we have to tap in to that aggressiveness, that assertiveness, that warrior type of spirit in order to get shit done and not let the challenges and blockages hold us back. And so it is going to be a very interesting time to see how this energy is going to manifest. And seeing as we have all of these different shifts going on, it's going to be a while before we feel adjusted and stable in this new reality of ours. And it's also an interesting dynamic to kind of understand that the only stable energy that we have right now is Venus and Taurus energy. And of course, just happened, moved into Taurus energy into her place of power on the 16th. So we're still adjusting to this energy. And it's just an interesting dynamic, realistically speaking, where we're being kind of slowed down, where we want to stay present in the moment, where we have to connect to the physical body and the five senses in order to interpret how it is that we're thinking and feeling and responding to the world around us, good, bad, and otherwise. And of course, making the adjustments to recognize the voids in our lives in order for us to take action to stabilize those particular aspects of our lives. That's what Venus and Taurus is all about. Go ahead, take a listen to the Astro Forecast if you haven't already, so that you know what she's offering us in this particular cycle. But we are going to need that grounding energy, especially with the week ahead, with all these changes coming at us, with all of these energy shifts coming at us. We are going to need to stay present in the moment as much as possible, connecting to the physical body as much as possible. Anytime you find yourself projecting yourself in the past or the present, I really recommend that you do a grounding practice, which is connecting to the five senses. You know, what does that mean for you? Well, look around. 5 things you can see, 4 things that you can touch, 3 things that you can hear, 2 things that you can smell, 1 thing that you can taste. Brings you back into your physical body. It's a very easy grounding practice you can do pretty much anywheres. But you're going to have to get into the practice of grounding yourself out very, very frequently over this next week while we adjust to these particular shifts and these energies. May I also just remind you that if you're listening to this, you're likely a light worker, you're likely a star seed, have some kind of empathic psychic capabilities, because otherwise you wouldn't be listening to me. You wouldn't care. You wouldn't even resonate with what it is that I had to say. May I just remind you that we are transmuters, which means that whatever it is that the collective is going through, we pick up on that, we feel that, we try to process that in our own perspective, our own experience, and lighten the vibe, put it back to the collective so that we can kind of get out of the fear, get out of the funk. And let me tell you, when Pluto moves into Aquarius, we start seeing the shit show that is the collective fall apart because of the storylines that we've been trying to dismantle since 2008 with the government, with the healthcare, with the politics, with this whole, I hate to say it because my channel's going to get a hit, but if it's not old, it's blank. And we live in, no, I'm not even going to go cryptic. New World Order, okay? The New World Order. Let's just spit it out. Everybody else can talk about it and they don't get, you know, their wrists slapped on YouTube. So I'm going to say it. New World Order. We've been trying to avoid this for the last 50 years. We've been definitely trying to unearth it and dismantle it since 2008 when Pluto moved into Capricorn and destabilized, destroyed, and damaged those particular structures that were put into place in order to make it happen. And in this Aquarian energy, remember, the whole goal of Aquarian energy is to return the power back to the people. It is the conscious collective. So when the world gets shook up, which it will in many different ways, especially this week, please remember that we are picking up on the collective's energy, and it's not going to feel good. And it's up to us to do what we can with it to make it lighter and brighter. And I would also say that there's likely going to be a lot of waves this week. And I know we're moving out of Pisces season, so it doesn't make sense to have water waves. So instead, what I will say to you is prepare for heat waves, not only in weather patterns, also keep your eyes on volcanoes, hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Also pay attention for really weird electrical storms and weather patterns. Most of them are not, natural and organic, but watch out for them nonetheless. Our temperature will be rising. In Pisces season, we had temperature fluctuations, but we were on the cold side of things. Well, we're in fire energy now, baby. And this fire energy is going to dry our wet asses off so freaking quick. We've been saturated, taking on water in this Pisces season. You best believe Aries season, going to dry us out right quick. Dry out our skin, dry out our eyes, dry out our innards. Thirst is going to be a major thing. Temperature shifting to hotness. There's a very thin line between passion and anger. We learn that the hard way in Aries season. And so what I would say to you is watch out for your blood pressure. Watch out for, I'm going to say, your blood boiling. Things can agitate us and frustrate us and anger us out of nowheres, and we literally can feel our blood boil, and that is the fire energy. Pay attention to your heartbeat. There's likely going to be an acceleration, different pattern taken on with the heartbeat. Why is that? Well, because the sun is our life force energy. The sun is coming back to life. We are moving into the spring equinox. We have new karmic chapters unfolding. We're on a new playing board, a new battlefield, if you will. And our heart is racing. We're ready to get inspired. We're ready to get fired up, to take action, to make moves, to create a new reality out of this new year that we are being kind of presented with. So pay attention to the hotness. And let me just say, I would step back from eating spicy foods if you're one to do so. You want to eat cooling foods through Aries season. Melons are a great way to cool. Cucumbers, of course, they're a kind of melon. But that type of texture, that type of wateriness, of course, life force energies, we get the most life force energies out of our fruits anyways. But you want to concentrate on cooling the inner realm because we're naturally going to be dominantly warm, dominantly hot. Like I said, there is this revival energy. We are going to feel like we're brand new. We're going to see the world in a brand new way. Maybe just invite you to think about it this way. When the seasons are changing and you finally get, those couple of days in a row where you feel like the seasons are changing. So I'm in Canada. For us, I still see snow everywhere, and I'm not complaining because the minute that the snow leaves us, I have just an absolute mud pit of a backyard for my dogs to just apply so much stress for me. But that's a side topic. Again, I digress. Anyways, I'm looking at a bunch of snow, but the sun is out and it's almost 10 degrees and it's beautiful out there and it smells like spring and the birds are chirping, and you kind of get that excitement when you feel like you're moving out of one season and you're moving into another. And this, we are changing seasons, but energetically speaking, we're changing realities. And so you should be feeling excited. You should be feeling revived. You should be feeling this newness take over, this want, need, and desire to take charge, to make a change. You should be tapping into a new optimism. You should, start to kind of see where the negative narrative is turning into a more positive one. You should be feeling lighter and brighter. Now, is this going to happen with the snap of the fingers on the day of the 20th? Hopefully, but not likely. We have to understand that energy is within orb. So that means that we're given 2-3 days on either side of a direct aspect in order for those energies to fully manifest within you. Depending on your chart and some of the placements within your chart, it might be an early arrival where you're feeling it before the aspects happen, might be in alignment with the aspects, or it could be a couple of days past the aspect taking place before you actually start to see the reverberation of that energy in your own self, in your own life. But this is the energy that we're moving into. So if you're not feeling it now, that's fine. If you're not feeling it on the 20th, that's fine too. You will be feeling it. This is a transition that everybody goes through, but we're all on individual journeys. Even though we're walking this journey together, we're on individual journeys. And, time is very elusive. Doesn't mean that we're all kind of reaching these aha moments, these shifts at the same time. Now, we've been talking the last couple of weeks, especially in Pisces season, because there is an upgrade to our psychic abilities in Pisces season, about how sounds and frequencies, music that aren't of this world have been very, very noticeable. The I want to say the vibration and the frequencies that our auditory perceptions are able to pick up on, they're increasing, just like, the light spectrum that I talked about in our eyes. That is widening up for us to see different levels of the light spectrum as well. And so, everything is going to be louder and brighter. It's not a bad thing. It's going to take time for us to adjust to it. What I would say is if you are into music, please be very mindful of the music that you absorb. Much of the modern day music has been, I'm going to say, tweaked and manipulated in order to confuse the chakra system. We need to be very careful about the frequencies that we surround ourselves with. But what I will say is you can't get any more pure of a vibration than your own vocal cords. And singing, whether you're a good singer or not, is a beautiful way to raise your vibration and frequency and connect with the harmonics, if you will, with the world around you. And so sing your little heart out whenever you can, even if it's off tune, even if it doesn't make sense, even if you're making up the words. Get that throat chakra vibrating, right? We want to open up that throat chakra. It's been kind of stiff, kind of blocked up as of late. We want to open that up. We also want to bring in higher vibrations and frequencies to start this new astrological calendar off of, and singing is a great way to do that. So surround yourself with good music and get those vocal cords working and really just kind of bringing new vibrations and frequencies into your physical body. Speaking of the physical body, we will likely see a shift in our energies, of course, when the sun moves into Aries, but mostly Mars. Mars rules over our physical energy, our drive, our passion, our desires, our inspiration, motivation, even our anger. And sometimes anger is the greatest fuel in order to light a fire under our ass so that we can get shit done. But again, Mars is not moving into his most favorite place in Cancer energy, but we're going to focus on the positives, and the positives are we are moving out of Gemini energy. We will feel a shift in our physical bodies, in our physical motivation, in the ability that we have to actually move our physical bodies, because we will not be feeling like we are 500 pounds trying to run underwater any longer. Thank goodness. But with the physical energy, it's going to come in bursts. And just a reminder, Mars rules over the Aries energy. And one of the greatest, I'm going to say, assets, but also cons, is that we're full of life. Why is that a bad thing, you may ask? Because we want to expend all of that energy all at once, and then we fall short of being able to actually bring some of the dreams and visions and goals that we had into fruition. So we kind of overdo it. And what I would say to you is that one of the greatest lessons that Aries season offers us is a lesson in energy management that comes down with your physical body. So we are going to be, motivated. We are going to feel that physical energy rise, but that doesn't mean that you go balls to the walls and do everything in one day and then need 3 days to recover. That's a silly plan, okay? It's a silly plan. So just make sure that you're monitoring yourself, your physical energy, as best as you can. Now, in Pisces season, we've been talking about, the uncomfortability in our lower extremities. Of course, our feet, the temperature fluctuations in our feet because we're having cold feet. We're getting to the precipice of where it is that we have to make some moves and take action and advance ourselves on the path in which we've, kind of aligned that we want to initiate. But as I kind of vaguely mentioned at the beginning of this forecast, just take the visualization that our little legs have been very, very tired, treading water, trying to keep our heads above water here in Pisces season. And it's only been over the last couple of days, realistically, and a lot of this is due to Mars kind of reaching that 25th degree where he went retrograde back in October. And we're in foreign territory right now. We're in newness. We're not repeating or retracing our steps at all. We are in new territory. And that is when the visualization of land came into our peripheral. We swam our tired asses to that sand. We dragged our exhausted physical bodies up on the beaches of that sand. And yeah, we have sea legs, but guess what? We are so friggin' happy to be on land. We don't even know where we're going. We don't know where we're at, but we know that we're going to get our asses up and we're going to walk until we figure out where it is that we are and where it is that we want to go from here. But we are tripping over our feet. Again, accident prone in Aries energy. We are going to feel like we all have restless leg syndrome. Why is that? Well, because our legs are tired and because we lack direction on the footsteps that we are taking, the path, the direction that we are taking. We're lacking clarity on that. But that's not going to stop us. We're going to continue to push ourselves forward. We're going to figure it out as we're going. Reminder, Aries energy would prefer to act on impulse and worry about the long-term consequences later, which can be both a good and bad thing. Good thing because, of course, we're more eager to take risks and make moves without, letting our mental plane talk us out of those ideas. Bad thing is that, we don't think about what we're doing, and therefore we could create a little bit of a mess, a little bit of a shit show for ourselves to clean up later. You know what? The name of the game is always balance. And if you can balance the energies, then you got nothing to worry about. But we are going to feel the restlessness, the tremors, the want, need, and desire to stretch and not feel satisfied in doing so in our legs, in our feet. And a lot of that is because the energy is stored up there and we don't know how to get it out. We need to give it a good outlet. And right now we're just putting, boots to the ground. We just want to test the stable ground that we're currently walking on, because it's been quite some time since we've been standing on our own 2 feet on stable ground. We just want to enjoy that experience. Another thing I will also say, we talked about the thirst. Just because we're in a fire energy, we do want to continue to keep that water to us, because we will be extremely thirsty and borderline dehydrated. But hunger is going to come back in a fierce kind of way. And just keep in mind that fire energy, we need to burn through calories, which means that you need to be putting food, healthy, good, usable calories in you. Yes, try to keep it on the cooling side of the foods that you can be putting in your body. Again, just trying to balance out and counteract all the fire energy coming at us. Just please keep in mind that we've been saturated in water energies for a very long time. And now we are, getting, like I mentioned, dried off in a hurry and going from one extreme to the next. And, we really do have to not only monitor our physical energy, but we have to monitor what it is that our body needs. And we need to tap into Venus being in Taurus energy and connect with the 5 senses in order to gauge what our body actually needs. And for goodness sakes, give it what it needs. Nurture yourself back to a state of healthiness, of wholeness, of completion. We are in a brand new cycle, a brand new year. Don't mess it up. Set the tone, right, on what it is that you want to experience over this next year. And taking care of ourselves should always be at the top of the list. So guys, I think that's all that I have for you this week. I want to thank you so much for tuning in, for sharing your time, your energy with us here each and every Friday in the chat. And those of you who kind of tune in a little bit later, I appreciate you checking in and dropping a comment. Let me know that you're here, that you're sharing in the experience. I want to thank you so much for just interacting whichever way that you possibly can on these videos. I appreciate it so much. And I'm sending you guys nothing but love, because of course we made it through it. We did it. We survived. And we are moving into a brand new year. So spend these final days of Pisces season as you would ending out the false calendar. Many of us sit here in the last days of December as we approach New Year's Eve, trying to think about our New Year's resolutions that we're going to bring to life in January. It's based off of a false calendar. So give yourself the time, the energy to sit, to align with what it is that you're leaving in the past, in the old chapter, in the old version of yourself, so that we can start fresh moving into Aries season. If you need assistance, you need guidance on how you actually do that, I have resources for you. Go ahead, check out that new e-guide I put out for Aries season, and really take the time to treat it as New Year's Eve. And again, starting the brand new year on the 20th, when the sun moves into Aries season, and of course gives us a brand new playing field for the next year of our lives. So guys, I hope you have a beautiful ending point, a beautiful beginning point, and just know that you're not alone. You're not cray-cray. We're linking arms. We're going to go through all of these transitions together. Hope you have a great week. We'll talk to you soon.